I'm Zach with Forensics of Freedom. Today, I don't have a fighter on the show today. I have someone on representative of TicketTree.us. They're revolutionizing the ticket game. And if you're like me, you hate processing fees. And that's one thing these guys are killing. So his name's Elijah, co-founder.
Founder.
Right? Founder.
Founder,
Not even
co-founder, yeah.
The founder of TicketTree. Welcome to the show. Let's just get right into it. Like, how did this come into play? What made you come up with TicketTree?
Yeah, totally. Great question. Well, like yourself, I was tired of fees. Got really involved in like the blockchain world during COVID, when everyone's sitting on their hands and has way too much time to go onto their laptop. I found the world of blockchain and got really interested in what like the underlying technology there was to do or what you could do with it. From the Boston area, bought Celtics tickets to TD Garden. I think it was Celtics versus the Nuggets. Purchased on Ticketmaster for my girlfriend and I. It was probably like $400, and then checked out for like $600, so like 50% in fees, which is nuts. I get to the Garden, I scan my tickets, or I get my tickets scanned. They tell me the tickets were fake, so I got scammed. So I'm quickly like in line in front of hundreds of Bostonians who I'm sure, as you know, have a great reputation for being like super patient people. So that was a blast for me. I was like, this is a joke. I quickly purchased another set of tickets for another like $500. Nosebleed seats, got in to the Garden. My back was literally up against the wall. Had a decent time at the game. We won. I think that was Derek White's first game. Maybe that was a different game, but it was a good game. And at the end, all I had to show for it was like the barcode in my email. Where at least like a decade ago, you go to a Red Sox, like I'd go to a Red Sox game, Revolution, Pats, Celtics, Bruins, whatever, Titletown, and I'd be able to like take home a physical ticket, frame it on the wall, have some like like some sentimental value to it. And I was like, this sucks. How is ticketing here? How like fans should deserve better than this? And also like host organizations are super limited in their ticketing operations and like the actual value that they can give to fans through ticketing.
Makes so much sense. I mean, I'm going to see Wu-Tang Clan on Friday over this recording, and I think my tickets, again, were about 50% in servicing and whatever miscellaneous fees they add in there that I don't know. I know a portion of it goes to processing.
Mm-hmm.
Where's everything else going?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would say processing is maybe 2.9% max.
Yeah, I mean, if me and you could sign up for a PayPal account or a Square account today and pay 2.9,
yeah,
I would hope some of these larger venues are getting a little lower, but we're still talking 50% on what we get charged. And I agree now, digital tickets are pretty much like everyone's go-to. We don't get the ticket stub. But I'm actually amazed I actually have 3 tickets in front of me.
Nice.
And that's just because it is still a Ticketmaster venue, and then they do like on-location tickets. And that's the only way to do it is that way. But thinking of that, even that rate where I'm buying it directly from the promotion, for example, I'm still paying $6 a ticket, which I'll take $6 over $30 and $80 and $60. But like, you do enough shows a year, that $6 adds up. I know, like on your site, you're even like referencing like, you're saving about $13 a ticket. And if you're doing one show a year, $13 isn't a lot. We're at June 2nd as far as recording. I think my next week will be my 20th regional MMA show.
Sweet.
So right there's $120 right there. Yeah. The $6 fee, 13. We're now pushing $200 plus, $260. And and what I have is maybe a paper ticket if it's through certain promotions. Otherwise, it's a QR code in my email, like you kind of referenced. And then you kind of also touched on the subject that I fell victim to too. I used to be in the horse racing industry, and we went to one of the Triple Crown races, the Preakness down in Baltimore. My ticket scanned, no issue. My buddy's ticket, same order through SeatGeek. His was deemed a fraud. Thankfully, it was actually a known fraud. The venue that we were at, they were starting to track things, but if we didn't have that, we would have been kind of like you, where everyone's behind you in line, and the ticket person's telling you, like, you have to go. You don't have a ticket. Like, we got lucky there, but we went through the same thing. Where I was like, do I just buy another ticket right here? Do I have to go back to the line? Like, is this like first come, first serve? And still, at the end of the day, our resort was a story to tell and a piece of paper with a barcode.
Yep.
So I mean, you touched on blockchain. People hear blockchain, I don't think people still understand what blockchain is.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the fact that, the one you're solving with one back end, pretty much all the issues.
Mm-hmm.
Fraudulent, impossible. Blockchain
Mm-hmm.
records literally everything. Fees, even if you had a gas fee, you're still not going to hit Ticketmaster fees.
No.
So let's start there on gas fees. Gas fees, for those who are watching and are, what the hell's gas fees? I already paid too much gas for the car. Like, what are we talking about? Gas fees, I think, are usually just like the processing fees if someone's using Web3.
Yeah.
So how are you getting around gas fees?
Yeah, it's a great question. So first and foremost, like the blockchain, all the fans need to know, all hosts need to know is and this is something I learned very on like 4 or 5 years ago, and then watched a ton of different like NFT projects or whatever type of blockchain company try to launch some like extractive value that kind of like, to me, like ruined the space and gave the space a very bad rep. To me, into TicketTree, the blockchain is very simple. It is just a financial layer of verification. So like you mentioned, every single ticket is an asset that lives on the blockchain network, and it's immutable, which means it can't be changed or altered with. So this means every ticket that's on our site is a live asset on the network. So if you buy a ticket, you're getting a ticket. It also means that hosts organizations actually own their ticket supply. So the reason why, if you look at like a SeatGeek or Ticketmaster, StubHub, and there's all these scams, I think the number is like 8 to 11 million fans get scammed every single year. It's because these platforms are just like aggregators. They don't actually own the ticket supply that they're selling to fans, right? Which also means that like if a host organization or promotion is partnered with Ticketmaster, but a fan can still buy the ticket on SeatGeek, then one, it's like, what's the validity of that ticket? Two, is the host even seeing any revenue that's going from my ticket sale? So like host organizations are saying like, okay, well, I partner with Ticketmaster, I partner with SeatGeek or Paciolan or StubHub or wherever, but for some reason my tickets are still available to be sold on like 5 or 6 different websites. Well, I'm only partnered with one of them, and I only get revenue or like some royalty kickback or rebate, whatever it may be, from one, at most two. And our thing was like, okay, let's just implement the blockchain so fans can have 100% authentic and secure tickets, and hosts can retain their revenue. And what happens is when hosts retain all their revenue, you can just cut out all the scalper fees, all the third party marketplace fees, and really just like control and offer, I guess, like really affordable tickets at a reasonable pricing to fans. So with gas fees, so you have different networks. You have Bitcoin, obviously. You have Ethereum and the whole EVM world, which is pretty much like you have the Ethereum network, and then you have all these layer 2 coins or L2 coins, or networks as well that kind of like branch off of Ethereum. Ethereum's got really high gas fees. So we steered away from that. We use a network called Solana right now. Their gas fees are negligible, which means almost zero. So it doesn't really add on to the fans fee at all. It actually takes away from like the fan fee that we charge. So it's baked into our fee. We also have like very good, and this is how like we stack up against other blockchain companies. Not even other blockchain ticketing based companies. But we also have like this really like a good burn mechanism almost. That's not really the right word for it, but compression mechanism where on our site, every ticket is a compressed asset, which means some of the data is stored on chain. So the validity of the ticket and the authenticity is all on chain. Some of the assets, materials, some of the tickets materials, such as the brand image on the ticket, the text on the back of the ticket that you see, all that stuff can also be stored in a hybrid system off chain, which means that we can really have like these negligible gas fees to create and sell and trade these assets.
It's smart. It also allows you, I guess, to edit things too. Like
Yes.
you can edit things that let's just use Kate Slayton's to keep it with the MMA spirit. Yeah. If someone uploaded the wrong date, you don't have to kind of like process on the chain. You can kind of do that part on your network, and then it kind of filters in. I mean, great example would have been like if the UFC was doing it last night. They literally changed the headliner on the event right before the headliner came out because they never came out. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, we've already seen so many events in the MMA world where you would get a card that has 12 fights on it. Fight night, you might have 10. Poster's been booked. All the assets have been kind of developed, and you can kind of update yourself to actually reflect what the viewers saw in person.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you are with Cage Titans.
Yep.
Pilot program, pilot launch, promotion who isn't afraid to test things.
Yeah.
So it does line up really well. And they want to give, their fans the most they can. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I will get to the hall for a show.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always a case too. You have people who come in from out of state and all that. And again, we leave with a QR code or a ticket stub. Going to a Cage Titans show, you're leaving with a digital asset trading card, whatever you want to call it to make it sound. I think Jake Paul the Paul brothers kind of ruined NFTs for events and things like that.
Yep.
I know you kind of you weren't trying to name names with people who
Yep.
kind of gave bad names, but
yes.
Yeah, the Paul brothers are like an example that I will use. And that's kind of what stood out to me because at first I was like, God, get another NFT project, and I start looking into it. I was like, no, this one makes sense.
Sweet.
And then even the other companies, like obviously that they're not your only client right now.
Mm-hmm.
Of pro wrestling, which again, MMA is just pro wrestling, just real strikes and
yes,
real results. And then you also have, you started kind of dabbling in the Atlantic League. Atlantic League, for those who are like, what is that? It's pro baseball without MLB financing. They actually are partnered. The Atlantic League tests the rule sets for MLB. I think we're getting I think they did robot umpires in spring training this year. Atlantic League has had it for 4 years or 6 years. So partner with them too, and that's another one too. Before we hit record, I kind of mentioned like when I think of marketing as far as like how do you gain retention, it's always like how do you get that little kid that foul ball at a game, a signed baseball at a game? How do you build that core memory and it just keeps going and going? And you're kind of doing that digitally at this point because nothing's really physical anymore. I think your interview with Hillary Rose even touched on that. She kind of mentioned like fires happen.
Yep.
Like damages happen. Digital assets are there. Where do you see this going? I mean, right now you have, I think it's like, I'm gonna go off of what I just looked at a little bit ago, like 5 partners right now. Like, where do you see this going, and how are you expanding?
Yeah, right now I think we have 5 partners live. I think 11 to 12 launching in 2026. A lot of these like deals that we go for are contractual. So for example, they're like, oh, well, we already have our 2025 partner, but we'd love to use you in 2026. What I see is going for, especially in the MMA world, long run, is like actually building a very big and immersive ecosystem where fans can trade and collect these different digital moments. But instead of the issuance or kind of the point of collection of these digital collectibles being, oh, I got to go buy this collectible and I got to mint something or purchase this collectible for another $20. Well, I just spent $70 on a ticket. So now I got to get the collectible, I have to spend another 20. So essentially exactly how it works is each fan's ticket, once they scan into the event, so it's proof of admission. So we track that their ticket is valid, which it obviously is, but once it gets scanned, we track that on our side. And then after the event, the promoter, their media team, our media team, if we're at the event, can just upload the memorable kind of highlight moments from the event into our host dashboard and say like, so I use Cage Titans. So we did for Cage Titans 71 2 weeks ago. It was a great fight. Probably the best, had some of the best fights I've ever seen. Not even in person, but live or on television too. Let's see. So we did like a common tier. So essentially, no matter where you're sitting, if you're in the front row, if you're all the way in the back, there is, honest to God, like not a bad seat in that venue, but just for the sake of the explanation, if you're in a nosebleed seat or if you're cage side, right, you have the same chance of getting like a common collectible or a rare collectible or a 1 out of 1. So for this past event, I think we did a common tier, which went out to, I'll probably butcher these numbers, but like say 35% of fans. We had a rare tier that went out to say another 20, an uncommon that was another 20, a rare tier that went out to 15%, a legendary tier that went out to maybe 5%, and then we had 3 different 1 out of 1 collectibles. So we did it for the Hillary Rose fight because that was the first female championship fight. So her collectible was a moment of her kind of throwing some punches, celebrating. We did the Andrew Valdina fight. Valdina's a great guy. Hillary's great as well. I've never seen somebody as focused going into a fight as Andrew Valdina. I mean, I was pretty lucky we did some training work with him, some content. So I was kind of going to see how he trains at weigh-ins. I mean, this dude was dialed. The party was talking a ton of shit right into his face. And this guy was just locked in. Got to see him warm up in the cage. Could go on about him forever, but we did a 1 out of 1 for that fight. And then a 1 out of 1 for the Jack Congdon fight, where I'm not sure if you saw the highlights, but Jack's sitting there. He's got blood all over his face. Honestly, like a really, really good fight. I thought Jack was about to go down. And he pretty much just like wipes the blood off and just like throws one and knocks the guy out. So those were the 3 1 out of 1 collectibles. So what that means is out of all I think there's probably like 1,500, 2,000 fans there or so. Only 3 fans got one of them got the Hillary collectible, one of them got the Jack collectible, and one of them got the Valdina collectible. And with that, we said, okay, congratulations. You can now kind of store those memories forever in this collectible little wallet here. And because you won these 1 out of 1s, you have free tickets to Cage Titans 72 on TicketTree. Or if Cage Titans wants to come in and say, you know what, this is what we're trying to push for, see what can happen. But if Jack Congdon is going to the Dana White Contender Series or Valdina or Hillary or whatever, they can go and say, you know what, we're also sending the fan who got the 1 out of 1 to that fight, and we'll buy your flight and buy your tickets, whatever. So really using like the ticket as like the point of admission and then just loading value for fans. So you get the collectible, you have a chance at merch. Again, it doesn't matter where you're sitting. So it's like a lot of people think, oh, well, if you buy the most expensive ticket, aren't you just going to get a better moment? No, like live events are just people having a good time, and everyone should kind of be having the same chance at those moments and those rewards. So where I see it is, let's say you get a reward, right? And it's tickets to the next Cage Titans 72, but you can't go. You could go and essentially list that collectible on like a secondary marketplace. Think of like literally just eBay and how they are like a huge marketplace for these physical like trading cards. Just having that digitally. And then fans can go and just list and say, hey, this one's $20. A fan who doesn't have a collectible yet or wants that collectible because they really love that moment can purchase that collectible, and then they have that fan value, and some money can go back to Cage Titans, some money goes back to TicketTree, which then Cage Titans can also say, look, if there's a Valdina collectible that's being traded, because this ticket is on chain, that collectible is on chain. If Andrew Valdina is an affiliate on on the TicketTree dashboard, which he is, he can actually earn a royalty off of that collectible of him being sold. So kind of implementing like some NIL world as well, but really just trying to create a world where these collectibles give more value to the fans, and they also can be used to like promote these regional fighters on their way to the UFC. So essentially, it's like, hey, I got a Valdina collectible from when he was fighting at Cage Titans 68, right? 3 years later, this guy's in the UFC and he's a star. Look at you know what I mean? You can look back on that value. You think about it with the ALPB, so the Atlantic League, right? Juan Soto played for like the Hagerstown, Maryland team in the minors like a decade ago or so. Actually, it could be shorter. I don't know too much about baseball. But if you were to say, look, I got the Juan Soto home run when he was at the Hagerstown team, the minor league team, then all of a sudden now he's killing it in the MLB, and he's probably one of the best players there. The value on that collectible itself, and also just like, wow, I knew about this guy before anyone else. You know, I was a fan of him before anyone else, and I have this asset to prove it. So that's the long story short, long story not so short, I guess, of where we want this to go. Just giving fans as much value, and then giving the host a tool to kind of actually like promote the brand presence for their athletes, which is, I mean, in MMA, it's a lot of it is based off of like their brand presence in my eyes, their ability to sell tickets, sell out shows, attract viewers, things like that.
Nice. And you actually did just steal my 2 follow-up questions on that a little bit, because I know on the resale you can do it that I'm just gonna call it a resale tax, where whoever you have listed can get kickbacks. I think a cleaner way, it's called affiliate. I think that's how you worded it. That's much better, much cleaner way to word it as well. Like I know when I first started looking into NFT things, like Gary Vaynerchuk did the V Buddies.
Yeah.
And when I think every time it sells, he gets a percentage that's so minute, but his fan base sells it enough that it adds up to probably a nice revenue stream for him. And with a fighter, like even if they get $1 a time it transacts, like it's $1 they weren't getting sitting at home waiting for a fight. you kind of touched on a great point too. Like, I know so many people who have fought regionally and made a US debut, and I was like, or a UFC debut, and I was like, I was at their pro debut. Like, you know, they had that little like initiative, be like, no, I was really there, and I have like a digital way to show it. Everyone, even me who says like I hate chasing clout, we all chase some acknowledgement in some way.
Yeah.
So I wanted to change it a little bit. I know I'm trying not to use up too much of your time today, but we kind of touched on like the fan side. That's a big portion of it too. But without event holders, the fans don't really have anything to buy. So on the event side too, kind of mentioned before too, like I'm a marketer. So like I see a lot of the event things and I start seeing, well, how can you benefit from this and this? Your dashboard alone is also offering a lot of things. You can get like, demographics. I think, demographics cover every marketing realm there pretty much as well. Do you have ways to like integrate that data into third-party tools? Like if Cage Titans is selling tickets and they want to do like an email campaign, are they able to kind of pull demographics from there and export to a MailChimp or name any of the other 30,000 ESPs?
Yeah, I'll do you one even better. They can export those lists if they want to. They can also just send fans direct messages through emails or texts through our host dashboard itself. So something we just built out that was really cool was a fan segmenting page where essentially a host organization, Cage Titans, can go onto the page and they can filter by a fan's like overall spend at the totality or all of their events that fall under the Cage Titans umbrella. So I think we started with like Cage Titans 69 was our first ticketed event with them. So for the past 3 events, like what's a fan's total spend? You can do their spend per event. You can filter by their name, search all that stuff. The most important one is you can filter by, and you have kind of a toggle option for each of these 2 following ones. You can do fans who have been or haven't been, or essentially have tickets or don't have tickets to Cage Titan 71 or an event itself. Then you can take that a step further and say, filter fans or segment fans by, do they have a specific ticket? Yes or no. So I'll give you a great example. So Cage Titans, they sell a hall pass. It's like an early access pass. You can get into the venue an hour early if you have it. It's $15. So what we were able to do, actually, we tested this for the first time last Saturday, was essentially say, okay, with TicketTree on our host dashboard, you're going to go and you're going to say, filter all the fans who have tickets to Cage Titan 71, right? So it shows the whole entire list, 600, 700, 800 fans, whatever it may have been, through the online sales, because they do some physical sales still. Out of those 700, 800 fans, can we then go filter them by the fans who do not have a hall pass, right? So then you have a subset. I want to say that was, I don't know, a couple hundred. It's like 25 pages on our site. And like, I think we have like 15 fans per page or something like that. So do the math for the people listening. But you can then say, okay, select all and email. And then you can type in your email. So you can say, hey, hall passes are still live. You can get in an hour early. And then you just hit send. And it just sends from the email, the user address that's logged in. So if I'm the founder of Cage Titans and my email is mike@cagetitans.com, whatever it be, it sends from his email to all the fans personally, so they're not all like seeing the same, like all the other fans' emails addresses. It says, hey, the early access tickets are still here, $15, and then it just links it at the bottom. Fan can click it, go purchase. I think we had a 11% rate, and I think we only sent to like 30 fans to test or so. So I mean, it was really, really good. The other side of that, so you also have that for SMS. And to take it a step further, in terms of just like, I think a lot of the regional, and this is something that Cage Titans does really well, and why we love like really working with them, is because they are fighter first. They truly mean it. So essentially, if you're gonna, if you want like your fighters to earn like some sort of commission based off the tickets they sell, you could do it physically, and then they can, fighters can come with a ton of cash, and like, which is not best practice for obvious reasons. Or you can just set them up. You can invite them to the Cage Titans TicketTree host dashboard, give them the affiliate permission, and then they just have their own little event link. They can go share that, put that in their Instagram bio, and then fans can actually support that fighter themselves, and they get whatever commission based off sales that come through that link.
Nice. Yeah, that's one of the big issues there too. I know like Mike is really big on the in-person because it builds that connection. But if we're being honest, fighters love it and hate it because you're getting messages up until like a week of fights of like, I'll buy 2 tickets and they just never get a hold of you until fight day, and then they
Yeah.
expect you to, while you're shaking out, to go hand off tickets, which is never going to happen.
Mhm.
So I like the hall pass idea. I mean, I know the hall pass, but like the whole like final touch point, like you have a week left, get you in an hour early. On the other side, do you have the ability, or would a promotion have the ability? Someone buys general admission, and there's 3 front row seats left over. Do they have the ability, or if it's not, do you have plans to have it where like maybe they can upgrade somebody and that they don't know until they check in? I
Mhm.
think you did an event. I think you just did it at the last show where like you kind of handed out an upgrade. Every hockey team does it. Every baseball
Mhm.
team does it. Every football team does it nowadays, where someone sits there with an envelope and you have to hope someone comes and talks to you about it. But
Yeah.
being able to just like scan your QR code to get in,
Mhm.
and now you're being guided to front row when you bought the last, or the general admission seat, that triggers something. It's a little dopamine hit to somebody who just now got, say, $100 seat for $35
Mhm.
price. Is that an ability that you have in the system as of right now?
Yeah, we did that, I think, for Cage Times 70. We were like, hey, why don't we just go? There's some numbers like the physical tickets versus the online, and like where that I think like the physical tickets having that in-person touch is super valuable. And what we're trying to do now in terms of like plans that we have building forward is how can we kind of replicate that person to person feel that a physical ticket has through an online ticket sale, especially with the affiliate links. But in terms of upgrading tickets, yeah, we did that for Cage Time 70. They were like, hey, I think I don't know, I forget the specific number, but there's like 10 oversold in the mezzanine section or the upper balcony section. Um, can we just go ahead and just upgrade 10 fans tickets at random to mezzanine? So the fans came in, they scanned their ticket, and they were like, I was like, hey, mezzanine, which is like the closer seating, the better seating. Like, no, are you sure? I thought about upper balcony. Like, no, yeah, we actually just upgraded you. Like, you just got upgraded. They were super pumped. So yeah, you have the ability to do that. I mean, we again, like at the end of the day, we just want to give hosts all the tools they can to give fans a better experience. And upgrading their tickets is definitely part of that because, like you said, you go in, you're like, all right, I'm getting the upper balcony ticket, still a great seat, but all of a sudden you go and you scan your ticket and you're getting an upgrade. You're like, hell yeah, you know?
And I guess this will be actually my final question. So we hit on the ticket side.
Hmm.
You're talking also total money spent.
Hmm.
It Is there a system in place, like if you go and buy a shirt, you can scan something, and that kind of tracks your lifetime value there as well to like your overall? I'm also completely biased. I'm a front row person at
Okay.
every event. I buy a piece of merch whenever I see something new. I know what promotions I go to. My
Mhm.
LTV is very nice,
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm always like thinking like I don't ask for things, but like those who like you don't if you keep going to shows, you don't realize that
Mhm.
number starts getting commas.
Exactly. Yeah.
And and getting even like a discount or something on tickets, like what offerings are built in place and anything that you have like planned for the future?
Uh, yeah. For lifetime, we actually in like a very, very first version of our site. So again, we are blockchain based. I come from like a very Web3 background. Um, Launched a couple NFT projects, which are really just like utility based projects so they weren't just like pictures of an animal and taking money from you and never do anything again. A little bit different than that, which I'm proud to say. But one of our first events was like some Web3 golf event. It was like the very first iteration of our site. And we actually did have like you could buy merch directly through our site. It's like, okay, you just buy your ticket. Now, do you want to buy a shirt as well? Like on the way to checkout. And then we kind of scratched it. We haven't built anything around like merchandise yet. Or we haven't built out. We just never really used it, which is something we may do. Connecting with um, like the merchandise value and all that tracking would be super beneficial. I'm not sure the best way to go about it, but what our host can still do is like export their fan list that has like the lifetime value and then put that in a sheet and just add it to their other, whatever other tracking they have on fan spend. But yeah, in terms of what's being built next, we will have a mobile app, hopefully really pushing for the next Cage Titans event. It will probably be for Cage Titans 73. So 2 events from now. Um, really working on like the sharing collectibles aspect. So when a fan gets their collectible, the point system. So this is great actually. We really want to build out. We have it built out now. It's like a community page where it's tickettree.us/Cage Titans. That's not the actual URL because it's not live yet, but an imaginary, something like that. And essentially it has like a fan leaderboard. So you can see, okay, these are the fans that have been to the most events. So like the diehard fans, right? You have the upcoming events, and then you have like a social feed of all of the digital collectibles in the fan that owns them. So it's like, holy crap, all of a sudden I can see, look at all these knockout moments and these memorable moments from the last fight. And you kind of see in like a social media type of feed, but it's like really niche down and specified to Cage Titans themselves. So in terms of the next thing we have to build out, or the thing that we have to build out first, because that whole page is already done, but it's really honing in on like the point system for fans, where a fan can receive their digital collectible, share it on an Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and actually receive in-app points for that action. So if I get a Valdina collectible and I export it to my Instagram story and share it on my Instagram story, I can actually receive, let's say, 100 points for that. Then the next time I go to buy a Cage Titans ticket, I have 100 Cage Titans points, and that can go towards taking X% off of the platform, like 3%, 5% off the platform fee, or Cage Titans say, okay, you're a discount based on the points that you have. So you a really, really good way to build like fan incentives for essentially promoting the brand or promoting the promotion, in this case, Cage Titans, on social media. So it's like a digital word of mouth, but instead of like fans just doing that, they also get rewarded in actual like dollar value when they go to check out for future tickets. So that's like what we got built out, and what we're kind of finishing up in the near future, which will be a lot of fun. So hopefully there'll be more on that soon.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's always this is why I fell into marketing. It's always like, how do you trigger that comeback?
Yes.
Again, I always go back to baseball. It's always like it's the most boring sport in the world, but like they understand the concept of like making kids come back.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I always said, you know, like, I think for an MMA promotion, trading cards, and then you put like you do cards for everyone, not just the fighters, because you're gonna always run into like a Mike from Cage Titans at a show, a Nick from Cage Titans at a show.
Yeah, it's great.
And if they have their own card, and you put a Sharpie in each of their pockets, and if a kid gets the card, he's like, "Oh shit!" Like there's Mike. Like you know, Mike pulls out a Sharpie and signs it.
Yep.
Like
you got him.
It's Mike from Cage Titans. It's not Conor McGregor, but like it's still
Conor
that
McGregor
initial. You know, yeah. I would trust Mike with a lot more than Conor.
Yeah, seriously.
So, but that connection of a kid has a card, he met the person on the card, the person signs the card. That maybe that I don't want to devalue Mike. Cause I hate that I just use him as an example because I don't want to say the next one like that card's worth $1, but that kid that's now multiple memories in one event.
Totally. And it's something to look back on, right? It's like, okay, I mean, if you look at it again from like a marketing lens, if the kid is the influencer, not like a social media influencer, but the influencer, and the parent is a decision maker, the kid's gonna say, well, look, I got this card. I got this card. I want to get another one. I want to collect them. And the parents can be like, okay, fine, let's go. Right. So it's all about like just really hammering these like reinforcement loops, not with in like a very ethical, but like method that's actually worth it for fans as well. Which is the thing that like, in terms of, I know you mentioned it earlier in the show, like Cage Titans, just like they will experiment with stuff, and that's what's great about Mike and Nick Haler is a legend too. Like Mike has a very, very fighter first approach, which when it comes to TicketTree, he was like, okay, yeah, I'll use TicketTree. And we were like, they were our first ticketed event. We had never done anything, but he took the leap of faith with us because we had a plan of like, okay, we'll do X% of your ticket sales now for all your online sales. And then we will build by Cage Titans 71 all of these affiliate links so that you can empower your fighters to earn more off their ticket sales as well. Nick, on the other hand, like in terms of marketing and content, I mean, he's just pumping it out there. Does a really, really good job and just brings great energy, and also gathers like really good collectible clips and highlights to put on those collectibles for fans. So yeah, we love working with them, but it's a blast. We'll have to get you out to a show.
Yeah, so it's definitely on the list of things.
Yeah, man.
It's more so just I think the drive's like 8 hours, so it's like at that point you're probably flying.
Yep.
And at that point, I'm sorry, I hate Boston Airport. And that's what
Oh,
it really comes down to. It's like,
yeah. I'm with you. Go into Providence if you want. Providence, Rhode Island.
I see. I don't even think of that.
Yeah.
I literally just go to Google and say how do I get there, and
Yep.
then that's what I do.
Yeah.
But that's where like the real factors right now. And
Mhm.
like it was 4 hours. I'm there the next show. 8
Totally.
hours is a little more planning.
Yeah.
But no, I will be at a show. I look forward to using TicketTree
Hell
at the
yeah.
show. And I look forward to hopefully not. I don't want to say not get a comment, but I'd still you're still leaving with something. But
Yeah, totally.
yeah, I'm gonna link below. I know we kind of went over everything in about 30 minutes,
Sweet.
and I think going over it is probably an understatement.
Yeah.
I think I think I spent the past hour before even hopping on the call just looking at the
Nice.
fan side, and then I think I told you like I literally right before we hopped on, like, I think I was just at the host side, and I was like, oh damn, like I need another hour to kind of go through this.
Mhm.
But no, I think this is like no one likes Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
Like, so from a fan point, that's a win right there.
Sweet.
I figured, you know, even if there was a gas price, it's built into the pricing already.
Mhm.
But it's just still nicer. Like I think if Ticketmaster did that, like hide your stuff, and maybe we won't complain as much. But when you tell us our fees are $80,
Oh, yeah.
it makes me hate you even more.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell you at least 30 of their 50% is coming off of being able to list inventory that's not actually theirs. So like getting it from like an aggregated source, because like when we first started this, we were like, hey, should we do a secondary marketplace? And then we saw that and they're like, hey, we're going to charge this much. And we're like, that's insane. So there's half their fees. Then it's just scalper greed, and then it just inflated prices. So it's like there's a lot of nonsense. There's delivery fees. We're going to charge you an extra 15% to send you an email with a PDF in it. Don't get me going on that. Don't even get, I know you want to put a pin in it. I could talk about that forever. But I'll let it be.
Yep. So I'll link below.
Sweet.
And you guys are social on like every platform, so I'll link everything below. But I look forward to, like I said, using it there. Might even have to go down and get a collectible at Hagerstown just because the Revolution are playing there as well.
Oh, let's do it.
But no, like I said, this stood out to me. And I know there was a little back and forth between us beforehand, and then like I was like, no, like, I want to talk about this, not the other conversation. So yeah, I want everyone to kind of look at this, and then and obviously push it to your local promotion as well, because I mean, yeah, it's a video clip, but like you're getting something for just attending a show. So you link below. And thanks for coming on.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.